Okay, intention to create a legal relationship. I cannot emphasize on this enough because a lot of people forget about this. They have a proper offer, acceptance, consideration all day, but they didn't actually go and make proper documents, or they don't have that intention to go and make it into a formal agreement or a contract. So in that sense, it becomes like a social or domestic agreement, which is like an agreement between a parent and child and husband and wife, then it becomes a family matter or arrangements that you cannot really have any effect. It's not enforceable by law because there's no intention to create that legal relation. So it's just like me saying to you guys that guys, I haven't seen you guys for so long, I've never even met you guys, so can we just all go to KFC and I'm going to buy everybody 100 of you a KFC meal, at Dabon Tranquility, and then there's an offer, and then you guys say, oh yeah, thank you doctor, like you all go and you show up. So there is an offer, isn't it? I offer, you accept, isn't it? And there's a consideration. Of course, KFC, one bucket, for one person, that is like talking about 20 ringgit. So there's 2,000 ringgit here. There's a consideration. But is there an intention to create a legal relationship? Did you guys get me to write it down? And put my thumbprint on it? And then you put your thumbprint on it. Do we want to go to the legal office to actually get it stamped? No, so it becomes a social agreement. It becomes a social agreement. It becomes there's no intention to create that legal relationship. So when you arrive at KFC and I never show up, and then you guys lost your Grab car money, and you lost your petrol money, and then you end up buying your own KFC, so you all got pissed off and you want to sue me in court, but you can't because there is no intention for either one of us to create that legal relations, and because it's a very social kind of context, so sorry, like it's your loss, you cannot tipu, so these are what we call intention to create that legal relation. So commercial agreements are, in contrast, these are proper agreements. So a proper construction contract is actually a commercial contract. So there is always intention, the conduct, there is always a proper written one, or even a verbal one. There will be some form of proof to say that there's a seriousness to it, that you guys are wanting to create that legal relation, and therefore then it is going to be enforceable by the law. Okay, so whenever you talk about intention to create that, then the terms of the agreement must be certain. There is no such thing as subjected to, there's no such thing as if like that, if like that, then I will do it like that, it is not vague. There's no room, for you to imply other things. You cannot leave it up to the other person to have their own imagination kind of thing. Implied terms is what we call like things like industry standards are, like what a common man would do, a proper normal person, if a normal person walk into my class with a school bag, with a laptop, and sit down and open up your laptop and then you start to listen to my lecture, so it is implied, that you are my student, that you're here for a class, you see. So I cannot, you cannot leave me to imagine that you may be an alien, you may be a person who is lost, to come into the room. You sit in my room for 1 hour, so I assume that you're a student. So that implied means that, common law is a law for common man, so therefore we are all common people. So if you do certain things, if you put it in the terms that is implied, we call it implied terms, that means that it is applicable to most common man, to most common industry standards, that the work is being done in this way, because you don't have to be explicit. So it's just like if I pour concrete, it must be from down. I don't have to write it down. It's implied that you have to put it underneath and then pump it upwards, not like dropping it from the top, or when I call a concrete lorry, it says 3 days. So it says 3 days, then when I called and it didn't come because I called the day before, it's actually industry standards, you see. So that you have to do it like that, you see. So if you don't do it like that, then you cannot sue people because of that reason, you know. So all the terms must be clear and definite, and there must be that specificness to it. How must be certain, and if there's any implied terms, then it must be it must not be left to imagination. This is what I can say, okay. So then of course the other elements is you all must be legally capable to create. It's so funny, I said I saw enemy aliens. Yeah, I was just thought, aliens. Okay, yeah, I just used the alien example. Yeah, so you know it's not something that aliens would do, when I talk about implied terms, so when somebody is missing, I cannot assume that he's being taken by aliens, some conspiracy theory. So as long as it's within that legal normal context of society and human beings, then that's fine, all right. So that is considered as implied terms. So legal, if you're talking about legal capacity, so all of you are legal capacity, except for that when you're signing your what contract is that, your scholarship contract, apa nama itu, your PTPTN. Yeah, PTPTN is a legal contract, even though you are a minor when you do that. You're not even 18 are you 18 when you sign a contract with PTPTN when you master universities? So you cannot tell PTPTN and say, I was a minor when I was signing the contract. So there are certain contract that is valid, like PTPTN scholarship contract. You sign it because there's always another person as a guarantor at the back there. Even though they can't get you, they will get your guarantor, which is your mom and dad anyway. So, or your uncle, auntie, your datuk, nenek, So these are there are certain contract that even minors can sign. But of course, certain situations, so scholarship contract or PTN contract is one of them. So you must not be under 18 when you sign a contract, So there must be, that's why you get forms back, your daddy, mommy sign it for you. So these are minors, when you're 9 years old, you're minors. When you're 10 years old, you're minors, okay? And then you cannot make a contract when you're mentally unsound, meaning that you're under certain duress. So, yep. Right, so these are minors. So there are certain contract that are exception, insurance, scholarship necessary. So with that, there will always be an adult attached to it, apprentice contract. So when you go out to do your latihan industry and you're asked to sign a contract, yes, you can, you should, right. So contract of scholarship, this is really good to explain. That's why I like these notes. Okay, so mentally unsound person, so meaning that you are suffering from mental illness, mental handicap, so you are not there, or you're drunk, so don't try. So all this like drama talking about people getting drunk, and you get that guy to sign a contract, you bring him to the nightclub and karaoke and get him all drunk and he sign a contract. Actually, those are not legal. Okay, so if that person wake up and say that, okay, I was under the duress, I was under influence of alcohol, so or drugs, or you give me drugs, so I cannot think properly. So actually they are considered as incapable. So even if you sign a contract by getting the person drunk, it's actually not a good way, okay? So don't do it. Don't be silly, don't go to karaoke and try to sign a contract, or don't go to a pub and try to get somebody drunk and sign a contract. So these are all in dramas, Hong Kong dramas, and also C dramas or Korean dramas. So but it doesn't apply, legally it doesn't apply. So drunkenness, drugs, so if those people it is true when you say that somebody is sick on the bed, and then you get him to sign the will, and all that. These are not legal. A lot of this family courtroom drama that comes from all this is talking about that mentally unsound person. Okay, so you also cannot be under coercion, meaning that undue influences like drugs, fraud, misinterpretation, and mistake. Okay. So we will explain this in a little bit more detail in the next recording.